Welcome to the Two Chicks with Hiking Sticks podcast. We cover all things natural, cultural, and historical in the world around us. Sit back and enjoy our sometimes snarky, often funny, and never dull podcast.
As ready as I'm going to be.
All right. Well, hold on. Well, it's like I get caught on that. You should be behind me. Okay. Okay, ready?
How come you always get to do the clap?
Because I'm in charge. Woo, look at the power. Hey, everybody. I am Susan with the Two Chicks with Hiking Sticks.
I'm Monica, and she's in charge.
That's right. You're so lale. I'm in charge, and we are the Two Chicks with Hiking Sticks, and we are here to provide you with insight into things that are natural, historical, and cultural around us.
Yes, we are.
Indeed we are. So we're back in the studio today, and today we're going to cover... Now, I know you made a joke, Monica, about we should have a drinking game every time I say the word fascinating.
I wasn't going to share that with everybody. I was just telling you that it might be a good thing to have a drinking game. But since you've mentioned it, I think we should have a drinking game where everybody watches, and when Susan says fascinating, take a swig.
You could do that. But I am going to say this place that we're going to cover...
You'd get drunk really fast.
It is fascinating. So today we're going to cover Gettysburg National Military Park. And I know we have had questions about this place. Well, not this place in particular, but about, the naming convention that they have with the National Park Service. You have National Military Parks, you have National Battlefields, you have just battlefields, you have, all these different versions.
Yes.
The National Military Park is like the oldest version for significant battlefields. And so Gettysburg is a significant battlefield.
Well, that makes sense.
You ever been?
Stop it. Why are you asking me that? You know the answer is going to be no.
For the slimmest of chances that you might have ever gone. Okay, I've been 3 times.
I am shocked.
Well, and it's funny because my shirt today is Gettysburg, actually.
Is it?
It is.
That's,
But I almost wore my vintage Gettysburg t-shirt that I got in 1997.
Was that the first time you went?
That was the first time I went. 1997, and I don't know why they had this kind of t-shirt, but it's purple. It's a purple t-shirt. It says Gettysburg across the front, but it's like got this gold outline around the word Gettysburg. I'm like, it's weird that it's purple with gold. Anyhow, I decided not to wear that because I didn't think that would look good on camera.
Yeah, it sounds interesting though.
So, Gettysburg National Military Park. Wow. If you've never been, let this be the podcast that says you need to go. And I am not going to pretend that I know all the things that, are about the Battle of Gettysburg.
Right.
But I really want to just talk about why it's important that you visit it.
Okay.
So, do you know when it went? So, did you...
Look, let me just...
Oh, boy.
Let me just stop you right now. If you're going to ask me any questions that have any kind of historical value, like, do you know when? Do you know why? No. The answer is going to be no, no every time.
It was going to be a simpler question.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever see the movie Gettysburg?
No.
I thought maybe there was a shot that you had seen that because it had Martin Sheen in it.
I didn't even know they had made a movie about Gettysburg.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they made a movie about Gettysburg, and they say that you really should see that movie if you ever want to go to Gettysburg. You want to see that movie because it really is a great movie about the particular battle. And what's interesting about that battle is that, or about the movie doing the battle, is that actually some parts of the movie were filmed on the battlefield, which is like a big thing because the National Park Service does not take kindly to that kind of thing happening on these battlefields.
Oh.
Whoa.
Okay.
So, let's talk about Gettysburg National Military Park. So the Battle of Gettysburg happened in 1863, and it was July 1st to July 3rd, 1863. Now, we might say to ourselves, why is this important?
Because it's right before July 4th.
Well, that's a good one. But no,
No.
that wasn't it. The reason Gettysburg is so important to our American history is that they really point to Gettysburg as being the turning point of the Civil War.
Okay, I knew that.
Well, see?
Okay, that I knew. That I seem to recall a tidbit about that in the American history class. Yeah.
So, 1863, the Battle of Gettysburg. The Civil War ran from 1861 to 1865. So, it really was smack dab in the middle of the Civil War.
Right.
And it was significant for many different reasons. And most people think of Gettysburg and they think of let me throw you a bone, Monica.
I'm here to be the foil. That's why I'm here.
They tend to think of Abraham Lincoln and the
Emancipation?
oh my goodness, the Gettysburg Address.
Oh, the address. Look, just for you all,
Oh boy.
it's early in the morning. I'm still drinking coffee. Okay?
It's 11 o'clock.
It's early in the morning for me. Hello?
Anyhow, so the Gettysburg Address. Now, I remember when I was in 8th grade, and this is when I fell in love with American history. They made us recite from memory the Gettysburg Address.
Oh, thank God I
class.
didn't have to do that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know why this always stuck with me. I mean, other than the fact that, like, if you have really good teachers, history teachers, I mean, I am so thankful for our good history teachers because it made me really love history.
Who did you have?
Mr. Carrolley.
Oh, that's so. Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
remember hearing good things about Mr. Carroll.
Yeah, he was really good,
Yeah.
and that's where I learned to love more about American history. But he is the one that made us have to recite individually the Gettysburg Address up in front of the entire class.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did it. I scored it. I aced it. Anyhow, most people associate that with Gettysburg, right? Which is good because it is true. But if you go to Gettysburg, which is a hop, skip, and a jump, like if you're ever in D.C. or you're in, say you go to Harper's Ferry. We talked about Harper's Ferry. We have an episode on Harper's Ferry. Gettysburg is not that far. If you go to Sharpsburg/Antietam, it's just not that far from these places, right? And it is worth your visit there. Now, this place actually gets, over 1 million visitors a year. 1.5 million visitors a year kind of thing.
Why? Okay, so tell me why it's worth going there. What is it that people want to see, even if you're not, let's say that you're like me and you're not a history buff. Why would I
Right.
want to go there?
Well, they have, this battlefield is one of the best preserved battlefields of
Okay.
all of our battlefields.
Okay.
It is pretty doggone large too. It's, thousands of acres. It's pretty large. What they have done to this place, again, I went in 1997, 2011, and then 2024. So I have seen
Wow.
it change
Okay.
over time. They have really done some amazing things. That visitor center, if you're not really into history, but you want to have some idea about what this place is like,
Mm-hmm.
that visitor center is like primo visitor center.
Okay.
It's got artifacts. It's got replicas. It has the entire store. It is so well done and so well laid out.
Okay.
Then they have a video that you can watch in the visitor center. It is a beautiful visitor center. Number one. Number two, stock full of lots of information in there that's not dense. And again, I go back to when we had gone to Fort Davis, and I was asking the rangers about, well, how come the signs, and the little thing you walk through and you kind of
yes.
learn about,
Yeah.
why doesn't it give more information? Because that's kind of like not everything that happened there. And they're like, well, when they're doing these things like in visitor centers for you to walk through, they can't be dense information, right? It's got to be easy enough stuff for everybody to kind of pick up.
For people like me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For Monica and people like her.
Yes.
So it's very much like that in that it's easy to pick up and understand the battle and how it occurred, how it transpired, and then what ultimately came out of that. Because again, it's over 3 days. Now, the significance of Gettysburg is that it is the bloodiest battle of our Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the bloodiest battle. Now, some people get that confused with the bloodiest day of the Civil War because those are different, right?
Okay.
Antietam/Sharpsburg was the bloodiest single day of battle in the Civil War, but Gettysburg is like the entire battle over 3 days was the worst in our American history and in the Civil War. And so when you go through this visitor center and you learn all this stuff, it's fascinating. But then they have piece de resistance. You have what they call the cyclorama.
Mm-hmm.
The person who painted this, so it basically, I don't know if it's the stage that turns or U-turn, one of the two, but you go in a circle, and it's depicting the Battle of Gettysburg. This is why if you just go to the visitor center, you will understand what the Battle of Gettysburg was about.
Calm down. Okay. I'm interested. Keep going.
Well, and the cyclorama is so cool because they have depictions of the entire battle over the 3 days going on there. And they use lighting to highlight the parts that they're talking. So it's being narrated and highlighted as it's kind of going by, and you're seeing all of this stuff. And it's like, it's so rich. It's like, it's beautiful. I mean, it is one of the most premier cycloramas I've ever seen.
Okay.
So just FYI. So it is worth it to go there, to go see that, to learn about the battle itself. Now, MPS, I have said many good things about the MPS and that they really have improved their app. And you guys should all have downloaded your National Park Service app.
It's free.
It is free. And it is a wealth of information because Gettysburg, again, covers miles and miles and miles. I mean, it's a big battlefield. There was a lot going on with this battle and how much land all the troops were taking up and everything. They have a great audio tour. And do you do audio tours?
I do. Depending on where I'm going and how long it's going to be, I do them, yeah.
I do?
I do. I do.
I find them really fascinating. Take a turn. Fascinating because they put you in the moment. And I will say, this is one of those places that, again, you don't have to be totally into history to appreciate. But if you take the audio tour and go to all the different stops, it's great narration and it takes you to all the highlights of everything that you want to see. Now, on top of that, the thing that I learned the second time that I went was you should probably get a guided tour. A licensed battlefield guided tour.
Okay.
Have you ever had like a guided tour, like probably never on a battlefield?
I have, but not here in the U.S. I've done them overseas, yeah.
Because they're absolutely 100% worth it.
They're always worth the money.
The battlefield guides for Gettysburg, they are probably, it's the toughest test you have to pass in order to qualify to be a National Battlefield Guide at Gettysburg.
Wow.
So these people really know their stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing that they help you understand, because the second time I went, we first did it, and then we did it again, the third time I went, the thing that you learn as you have to really with any historical site is imagine and put yourself back in that time.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people have a hard time understanding what were the conditions at that time, what was really the topography, what was, did we have all this foliage? Do we have, you have to think back at that time, not having the communication devices that we have, not having, we didn't have a weather app back then, right? So we didn't know what the weather was going to be, right? So you have to put yourself back in that mindset, like, when Lee, this is day 2 of the battle, General Robert E. Lee was thinking, he'd given an order to the guy on his right saying, hey, you need to attack at dawn. And he'd given the guy on his left an order you need to attack at dawn too. When he woke up at dawn, he heard the firefighting happening to his right. He's like, okay, my guy's doing his thing. We'll come to find out it wasn't his guy doing his thing. It was the Union that was fighting back. And then the guy on his left wasn't doing anything that he was supposed to be doing because he didn't get the order. So it's like, back in that day, that's the kind of communication challenge you have. So when you take this driving audio tour, it's the stuff that you hear in the audio tour, and you can kind of put yourself in that position to go, oh, I see what they were dealing with. They're stretched out across miles trying to communicate.
Yeah.
So now the battle happens, and again, do a tour, get a guided tour if you can. There are about 40 miles of hiking you can do on the battlefield.
Ooh.
Most people don't realize when you go to these battlefield sites that there's that much hiking you can do.
Yeah, because I did look up just so I could get a general idea about the hiking part, and I didn't see any specific allusions to hiking trails.
Oh yeah, there's like 40 miles of trails out there.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I got to look again on the website. I didn't see any.
Yeah. So, because one of the biggest parts of a lot of people can remember about Gettysburg is about Pickett's charge. So you can actually take a walk across the field, hike across the field that all these men came across in this open field and were getting shot at by the Union. You can, I mean, these are like hikes and things you can do. Some of them are like, maybe a mile. Some of them you can take like a whole connected tour. That's like, I don't know, maybe 9-10 miles.
Ooh.
Yeah, so a lot. The other thing that you'll notice whenever you go to Gettysburg that is important to appreciate too is that there's some restoration that's happening as well, because grasslands are to be protected.
Mm-hmm.
And there used to be a whole lot more grasslands out in that area, but when settlers came, they started to take away the grassland so that they could have agriculture, and they needed to have hay and whatever for animals and stuff like that. Well, the National Park Service is doing a lot to restore battlefields back to what they originally kind of were back in the day, which is helpful for whenever we all go and see it, then we can appreciate this was what it looked like at that time in 1863.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. So then, so the battle happens. Terrible battle. Lots of people die. It is a turning point, right? And it's always amazing to me in all these battles how just single decisions, like you don't know how important that decision is until after the fact. But the battle happens. At the end of the day, the Union win the day. The Union win the battle. They win the Battle of Gettysburg. And what did that really mean? Well, that really shut down the South, right? So the South was trying to come north and gain some ground. They tried to do that at Antietam/Sharpsburg. Then they tried to do that at Gettysburg. They were rebuffed both times, and they were retreating all back to Virginia. That's important because this then started to turn the tide of what was happening in the Battle of the Civil War, in that the North was starting to gain an upper hand. And this is where, after the battle, the people, because remember, Gettysburg was actually a city. I mean, it was a city with people. And here's this whole little big old battle happening just south of town, and even somewhat in the city, but mostly south of town. All this is happening around here, and we have to remember that the Battle of the Civil War was about, like freedom for everybody, liberty for everybody,
life.
Right?
Yeah.
And after the battle, good people then thought to preserve what had happened here at this particular battlefield. And then they also then created the Gettysburg National Cemetery. The National Cemetery, which is a beautiful cemetery. I mean, it's no longer open for like burials unless you already have a plot there and you can be buried, but there's no new burials being created. It's a beautiful cemetery, but it's also where the Gettysburg Address was done. Yeah, so
at the cemetery.
Yeah, so the battle happened in July. I think he did his Gettysburg Address later that year. It was either September, November, sometime later in 1863. So Lincoln does his Gettysburg Address, and it really is highlighting, the battle, the people that died, what they're dying for, and that we got to come together as a nation, right?
Right.
And you think about these significant moments, and this is, how many years ago, 1863. How much of this lives forward to today?
True.
Right? Yeah. And what do we learn from it? I
can't right now.
You can't, but I could.
Yeah.
So he does his Gettysburg Address, and over the years, again, people started to conserve or protect this area more and more. Eventually, it was then recognized by the National Park Service and then protected as a National Military Park, which is great and wonderful. Now, this is one of those sites that, people talk about when they started taking down monuments, like on Monument Avenue that's in Richmond, Virginia. There were a lot of monuments to the Confederate generals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, they belong on the battlefields where they should be, where they fought, right? Well, Gettysburg has 1,400 memorials.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like, when you're going on your driving tour, I mean, there's memorial after memorial after, I mean, they're everywhere. Because, one, you had a lot of troops that were there from different states, and they all have their thing.
Sure.
So it's cool to see the artwork that it is, and they're in positions of where they have fought on the battlefield, so you get a sense of what that's like.
So, with all the visitors it gets and with all the history behind it, why is it not just a national park?
Oh, yeah, because it's a
I know
battle.
that, well, I know, but I mean, there's a visitor center, there's places to hike, there's a lot of history behind it. Obviously, culture that mixes into all of that. So why wouldn't that be a national park?
That's a really good question because I don't think, I mean, many of our Civil War battlefields or even Revolutionary battlefields all have visitor centers.
Right.
I mean, so they're all like regular like type of parks.
Right.
But it's not like a big capital N, capital P park because it's not that kind of visual.
Nature.
Yeah.
Oriented. Okay.
But while I say that, there are things that are done, like for instance on Gettysburg, about protecting the birding areas and birding populations that they have there in southern Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So they're very big on that. The ecology, they have some swampland, marshland, something like that. So they have areas that they are actually protecting.
Some natural areas.
Yeah, that are part of what that area is now. Because it's interesting, because if you look at the geology of the place, it's not just open farm fields everywhere, although there's plenty of those as well. But you've got some rocky areas because you've got Little Round Top, you've got these, Cemetery Ridge, you've got Cemetery Hill. You've got places that are elevated, which is why the Union did so well, is because they took the high ground. So just looking at it is pretty cool. But yeah, it's not a national park just because I think it's a battlefield.
Right, as opposed to just a natural area. Okay.
And I would say too, I mean, in there's another group that if you're ever interested in following, the American Battlefield Trust is an excellent organization that does a lot to help preserve these battlefields in the United States. And they do an excellent job. If you can go on their website and see on their YouTube, they do a walkthrough of the battle because, again, they're licensed people. They can do this. That really help give you perspective all the way through the battle. And they do a lot to preserve the land that it's on and to acquire land that's around. Because if you go to Gettysburg, it's like some of these places, it's like you have immediate commerce, like our Alamo, right? You have all this commerce happening outside. It wasn't like that back in the day. Same thing with Gettysburg is that they keep trying to acquire the land around it so that they can preserve more of it because there are still a lot of dead bodies that are buried in the ground there.
Wow.
Now, while a lot of them, have been dug up and like the Confederates were moved south and then the Union troops were put into the National Cemetery, there's still bodies that are buried out there. And so when they talk about preserving this land, it's for a lot of that reason too, is that you have a lot of those folks that are buried out there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I think it's important. So Gettysburg National Military Park, a fascinating place to see, to learn about our American history, and if nothing else, you understand then the turning point of the Civil War that eventually led us to the point that we did have the Emancipation Proclamation.
Yes.
And it was a very poignant part of our American history.
Yes. It was. I don't deny that.
And if nothing else, you go to the visitor center, go see the cyclorama.
I'll do that. I would do that.
Because it's really cool.
Maybe if I was with somebody that really wanted to go there, I'd be like, okay, I'll go check out the cyclorama.
Anytime you're out there traveling around in Maryland and Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'll stop, sure.
Whenever I'm in the hood. It kills me. I would also say that if you ever go to Gettysburg, I would say take 2 days because it really is going to take you. If you really want to get
sounds
through,
massive. Yeah, and if you're a history buff and you want to see everything, I could see why you'd need 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, and get your walking shoes on because it is cool to go through the lines where the cannon are all lined up and stuff. It is so cool to go through that. But anyhow, so that she said it this time. So if you get a chance, please take advantage of that. Culturally, it's significant to, especially where we're at today in the United States. Naturally, there's a lot of nature and geological formations and things that are out there that you should take advantage of. And, of course, it's historically significant.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, now you can go out there and go hike your own hike because there's over 40 miles of trails out there.
I'll find them and I'll whatever I find about hiking, I will put in the blog post.
Please do, because it's important.
Yes.
All right. And I guess that's about it.
Yeah.
All right. So until next time, hike your own hike. And we'll see ya.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening, and remember to follow our podcast wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to Two Chicks with Hiking Sticks on YouTube, where you also get to see our lovely faces, pictures, and videos of our journey.